Network Entertainment.
Heritage Rules matches are still very rare on NXT, mostly because it's just not given that much airtime compared to all the other championships and all the other stories. I mean, the Heritage Cup champion regularly appears, but these Heritage Rules matches don't, and that's why almost every time that they do appear on TV, you'll find them here in our picks of the week. Kasi ang saya lang, and WWE has really mastered the storytelling behind the mechanics of this match type.
Who's ready for story time?
What's going on? This is Xavier Woods, aka Austin Creed.
Let me talk to you.
Hello, WWE Universe in the Philippines. This is Charlotte.
Adam!
Hey everyone, this is Jeff Cobb.
I have to finish the story.
We are pretty deadly. Yes, boy. Yes, boy.
Run!
Bang! The sniper is shooting you down. This is TMDK's Robbie Eagles.
Hey, this is the Cosmic Cactus, Paul London.
Hello, my name is Ilja Dragunov, the Czar, the NXT champion, and you're listening to...
And you're listening to...
And you're listening...
And you are listening...
And you're listening
to the Wrestling Podcast.
The Wrestling Podcast.
The Wrestling Podcast.
The Wrestling Podcast.
To the Wrestling Podcast. Yeah.
Listening to the longest running weekly episodic Filipino wrestling podcast. This is the Wrestling Podcast. Stan C, Romoran, and Emil Nate checking in on our Picks of the Week episode, and this is where we give you our favorite matches in the world of wrestling, at least for the past week. And if you are looking for our weekend reactions, it should be up on your feeds, whether you're on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts. Nasa feed nyo na yan by this point. So thank you so much for always listening to the Wrestling Podcast and hearing us shoot our takes out into the ether. Now, let's get to our picks. Walang picks si Rowan. So we've only got 4, and we're going to start with Chino. We're going to go chronologically here. Monday Night Raw, Jey Uso versus Ilja Dragunov from the King of the Ring tournament. So it was a heated battle between two very intense wrestlers. And sabi ni Chino, it had him on the edge of his seat all throughout the match. Sabi niya, there were times when he doubted if Jey was going to win, seeing that Ilja still had an undefeated streak going on. But like Chino said on the pod last Thursday, at that point, it was really a matter of who's more over. Nonetheless, it was a good match. And I agree. It was a banging match because Ilja is wrestling like someone who has a lot to prove, which I guess he kind of does because he's still being introduced to a mainstream audience, to the people who don't watch NXT or never had time or bandwidth for NXT UK. Meanwhile, si Jey Uso is still on the rise. Ano rin siya, I guess he's also low-key bothered by the poor reception to yung WrestleMania match nila ni Jimmy Uso. So, ganun din. I can sense that this is a guy who's also wrestling with a chip on his shoulder. So, you get two of those guys, put them in the ring, and it just so happens na maganda naman yung chemistry nila, which explains why we got the match that we got in the main event of Monday Night Raw.
Yeah, again, like I said in the previous episode, it is a tournament. And as Chino said, it is a matter of who's more over. And guys, I know Ilja Dragunov is good. I'm a big Dragunov fan. But y'all seen the video sa Lyon with fireflies, with people dancing to the theme song? That's over, guys. Over is over, no matter who the objectively better wrestler is. I've seen people complain about how Jey Uso isn't really all that, but he is. He's pretty good. But yeah, only few people are on Dragunov's level. But again, over is over. And if you don't want to see the moves that make business sense, just go watch AEW, I guess. It is what it is. And it was pretty good. That match between Jey and Jimmy wasn't as good, but I think if there was any match kung saan bumawi si Jey, it's this one. He showed that he could play well with Dragunov. Dragunov did his usual thing, sira ulo siya, hence the Mad Dragon. And also, it's pretty hard to not have a good match when you're facing Ilja. And Jey is good. It's just that he's a different flavor of wrestler. He's not the indie guy. Diba? He grew up in the WWE system. So it's fine. And I like that Ilya was able to make this a really cardiac match thanks to his intense style.
Yeah, a lot of people, like I said, nung live stream nung Thursday, a lot of people were mad that Jay won this match over Ilya. Because first, it's a lot of these people are fans of Ilya Dragunov. But again, Jay Uso is really over at this point. That you simply can't put Ilya over right now. And second, they really want Ilya versus Gunter, which I also said it should be at a bigger stage and it should have a proper build as well. So they're gonna give us that match. So don't y'all worry. It was a great match. Yeah, I agree on all points. Jey Uso seems to have a chip on his shoulder ever since WrestleMania. We saw his great outing against Priest no Backlash, then continuing his great showings here in this match. And again, looking forward to his match against Gunther on Raw tomorrow.
All right. Let's move on to my pick of the week, which is from NXT to the new main event from that episode, Heritage Cup Championship match between Tony D and Charlie Dempsey. So first off, nagulat ako na Tony D'Angelo actually won the Heritage Cup Championship. We talked about this on the pod last week. He's not exactly my first pick for the person to succeed Charlie Dempsey as the Heritage Cup champion. But if you know your stuff, you would know na may technical background din naman si Tony D since he's a former amateur wrestler from his college days. And if you follow him on social media, he's jacked, he's ripped. I mean, the mafioso character has really hidden a lot of what Tony D'Angelo is capable of physically, right? But he gets to see it when he's given time to ball, and ball he did against Charlie Dempsey. Medyo nakakagulat lang na ang bilis ng reign ni Charlie Dempsey, especially with how quickly this whole storyline came about. I guess medyo na influence din nung pag-ease out kay Drew Gulak in kayfabe, diba? Which led to this chain of events that resulted in Tony D'Angelo raising the Heritage Cup Championship. But if you're going to talk about the match itself, it's fun. And Heritage Rules matches are still very rare on NXT, mostly because it's just not given that much airtime compared to all the other championships and all the other stories. I mean, the Heritage Cup champion regularly appears, but these Heritage Rules matches don't, and that's why almost every time that they do appear on TV, you'll find them here in our picks of the week. Kasi ang saya lang. And WWE has really mastered the storytelling behind the mechanics of this match type.
I will wager that we don't see the British rounds matches a lot because they're really hard to do on American TV, on American NXT. Tawag doon. If you notice, especially if you're watching NXT UK like us, na walang commercial, halos walang commercial, diba? Yung breaks lang nila is after every match and segment. So, British rounds matches in NXT UK, they were pretty long. As in, they would devote a good amount, 15 or so minutes.
Minimum 18 nga eh. Diba?
Yeah, NXT UK, syempre, kasi 3 times 6, diba? So, around 20 or so minutes for these matches, and you can't do that in American TV. It's not the same because you would have to go to commercial, and you kind of ruin the quality of the matches because sometimes the commercial, or a lot of times the commercial, would go back to the middle of a round, but you don't know what happened in the end of the previous round.
Or matatapos yung round altogether. Pagbalik ko, round 3 na.
Yeah, exactly. So it's not. It's really tough to do. Sometimes I wish they would just do it in PLEs now, but that's probably why they don't do it as much. It's just not. It's just not a good thing for US TV. So sayang lang. But this was a good match. See, Tony D, one of the better low-key better wrestlers nung crop niya of NXT 2.0 rookies. It just wasn't obvious because the mafia gimmick was overshadowing a lot of that for the character work. So now, I think it's his first Heritage Cup championship match?
First championship, yes.
First singles.
So when you're forced to wrestle a technical match like that, but you have to ball, as you said. So you have to show off, and show off he did. He has an amateur wrestling background. He showed that here, and it was. I think it was their way then of really elevating him because halos siya na lang yung napag-iwanan di ba? Sa batch niya.
Yeah.
Either you're gone.
Andre Chase.
Yeah.
Yep.
Andre Chase is pretty old, so I don't think he's leaving that mentor role in NXT. But the young guys who were with him, like Carmelo Hayes, Braun Breaker, even Trick Willie, diba? So yung mga yun, sino ba si Duke Hudson lang siguro yung hindi pa diba? But yung mga earmarked for single success, parang siya na lang yung hindi pa talaga and hindi rin siya na bring up ng draft, right? So I think they were doing this to throw him a bone and give him his flowers, if you will, not throw him a bone, give him his flowers for steadily improving. And I hope that he gets called up soon. I don't know how that's going to work for the whole family, but I think he deserves that main roster call up because he's just as good as the guys who got called up.
But yung part siguro as to why we were shocked is because he doesn't really fit that mold of an Heritage Cup champion. But he's good. Yeah, exactly. So I feel like this opens up the opportunity for the NXT roster to really go after the Heritage Cup championship. Because before parang nasa its own little bubble lang siya when Noam Dar was a champion. And you got guys like Tyler Bate competing for it. But now it can serve as parang their X Division championship. It's a championship with this different types of rules, and everyone can go after it now because they see now Tony D won the title, so I guess we can go after it now. And
Emil, just because Charlie Dempsey had it, or just because an NXT UK alum has always had the Heritage Cup championship, didn't mean that there was a barrier preventing everyone else from challenging.
No, I just felt like there was as a viewer. Kasi parang nasa its own little bubble siya before eh. But now I think this can open up this opportunity for it to be the third championship on the roster, and for other guys, even those who are not technical wrestlers, to go after it, because when you got these different styles and different types of wrestlers mixing it up in a match like this, it's fun. It's always fun to see. So I like the title change. I mean, Charlie Dempsey, bata pa naman siya, is gonna win a lot more of these championships in the future. So it was a great match to end NXT.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of opening things up, let's have Obafemi get into the Heritage Rules division. Have him just headbutt people into oblivion.
Yeah,
knockout! Ako na Heritage Cup champion.
It's fun. It's gonna be fun to see people like him mix it up in a Heritage Cup Rules match.
Mm-hmm. All right. Let's take a break and get to our other two picks of the week on the other side. But first, a quick word from our other podcasts right here on the Pod Network.
Hi, my name is RJ Ledesma. I wear many hats. I wish I had just as many heads. I'm a serial entrepreneur, and I'm also an entrepreneur mentor. I'd like to invite all of you to please listen to the RJ Ledesma podcast. On my podcast, I listen to inspiring business leaders and entrepreneurs to learn more about how they think about doing business, what are their success secrets, and how we can replicate them, and more importantly, what business opportunities do they see emerging in the near future for us entrepreneurs. Listen to the RJ Ledesma podcast.
Emil, let's get to your pick from last Friday's episode of SmackDown.
All right, so my pick is Tiffany Stratton versus Bianca Belair, Queen of the Ring quarterfinals match on SmackDown. Nagulat ako with how good this match was. Kasi, di ba, before SmackDown, there were rumors that this match was gonna be canceled or was not gonna be on the show because of the social media. With the social media,
might have gotten canceled.
I know.
Pero fake news pala, di ba? Wala naman nangyari.
Wala naman. So, buti na lang. And itong matchup na to, matagal ko na itong inintay because these are two of the most athletic women on the roster, and they went all out. I love how great this match is. I love Bianca's selling of the knee. Na Tiffany focused in on the knee the entire match, but of course Bianca still had to win. Parang at this point, she's like Super Cena at this point. But I don't care. Bianca is still over. And Tiffany had a great showing. Bumawi si Tiffany dito. And as much as I would love Tiffany to to go deep into this tournament, she ran into Bianca Belair, and of course, Bianca is still the more over wrestler at this point. But future is bright for Tiffany. Like, she can hang with the best of the best on the SmackDown roster. So soon she's gonna compete for the WWE Women's Championship because she's that damn good.
Yun, isa pa yun, diba? So, had Tiffany not gotten in that controversy last week or a couple of weeks ago, I'm sure people would have been rioting about Bianca winning. So, I like this match. Bianca she wasn't a gymnast, but she might as well have been, diba? Kasi
did she do track?
Yeah, she did track. She did track. But she has gymnastic abilities, and when you pair that against a legit gymnast, you get this match. So that was pretty good. I like how Tiffy doesn't have any nerves out there. Parang sanay siya mag-perform. And well, naturally, because you do have to have that confidence when you're out there pulling off all those amazing physical agile moves. Diba? So I think that's what's gonna get her far. Yung straight up cold as ice veins, right? That confidence to just ball and execute well. And that's what took her to the NXT Women's Championship really early. And that's what's going to take her pretty fast as well. Siguro by next year, she's going to be a women's champion because she gets it. She's confident, and then she gets wrestling. She's coached by the best, I'm sure. But, the confidence is a real huge factor.
Are we saying that Tiffany Stratton is the Anthony Edwards of WWE?
You might as well.
Pareho sila, 2021 yung rookie year, ascendant rise and all of that. 2024 is like a star-making year for both of them, elite athletes at that. So
they both have so much swag. Yun yung nakita ko whenever Tiffany's in the ring. Like Rose said, she's confident in what she's doing. And you can see it in her expressions, in the way she moves, the way she acts. Like, may influence nga, may little bit of influence nga si Ludwig because some of her heel antics, like parang familiar sa akin. Like, there's definitely some influence there. And
it's like how Charlotte steals from Andrade.
Oh, yeah, same thing. So the future is bright for Tiffany tonight.
Yeah. I'm going to comment about the confidence because when you watch rookies coming from, the business, a lot of rookies may be confident, but they're not as confident to perform everything that they have to do. It's always tentative. It's always, alam mo yun, hindi sila sure of what they're not 100% sure of what they're doing in the ring, even though they know what they're supposed to be doing. Tiffany has none of that. She is super comfortable in there. Like, siguro she might have been for a time when she was new, but she very quickly got it. And then she was very quickly sure of herself in the ring. That's what's really amazing about her.
Yeah, I think what's impressive is that Tiffany Stratton is legitimately in year 3 or 4 of her pro wrestling journey. She only started right around COVID time. Diba? She got trained by Greg Gagne for a quick bit and then got signed to the PC. So she's essentially a homegrown WWE product.
You don't...
Hindi katulad ng mga ibang indie stars like kunwari Fallon Henley who had time outside of WWE or Maddie Renkowski. Ren Sinclair, Maddie Renkowski. Diba? Hindi siya tulad ng ganun eh.
Yeah, I always argue whenever somebody would comment on local wrestling and saying na hindi kami magaling or, but hindi kayo parang WWE. I always argue na, people in the WWE took 5 to 10 years
to get there.
Around 10 years thereabouts of experience outside of WWE before they went to the WWE. Tiffany is really destroying that argument. But at the same time, Tiffany is also a phenomenal athlete. Let's hope that
if you want to contextualize, it's a local Southeast Asian region. Dante Chen has been in the game for 9 years.
Oh, hell yeah. Hell yeah. And
so he's in year 12 right now, in year 3 of his WWE run.
Yeah, and if you watch his matches, parang it seems like they're not special, but if you take someone who hasn't been trained well, it would look a lot worse.
Yep. So it says a lot about how naturally gifted Tiffany Stratton is as a pro wrestler. Sobrang galing. This is a type of rise to this level of performance na parang Charlotte Flair or Kurt Angle, diba? Or even Brock Lesnar.
Oh,
Kasi
hell yeah.
Bianca Belair. Si
Oh
Bianca
yeah,
ganun
Bianca
din
Belair.
eh.
Yeah. Actually, no. Kasi si Bianca was in NXT for like
Oh, yeah,
3
for
years
so
Oh
long.
before she
nga,
made it to the main
yeah.
roster.
Yeah,
Iba
That's
si
true.
Tiffy eh.
Mm.
Ah,
Remember, Tiffy did miss a good amount of time because of the elective surgery.
yeah.
The surgery. Oh yeah, yun pa. So that's a good chunk of time, like around a few
6 to 8
months, right?
months, dude.
Oh, 6 to 8. Okay.
Ang tagal niya nawala, di
I
ba?
don't
And
know
then she
how
showed
long you
up.
leave after elective surgery.
Yeah. And then she came back, di ba? And we're like, okay, so she's now top heavy. And then began boom, Tiffy was on her way to the top.
Mhm.
Sorry, no pun intended.
I'm sure she was getting trained in while she was gone.
I'm sure. Yeah.
Yep.
And again, just to be clear, we're not disparaging her or the elective surgery or whatever. We're just saying now, she missed time.
And she
All right.
was even better when she got back.
Yeah. Mhm. All right, Ro, let's finish it off with your pick.
Hey, picking again from AEW because I know you guys rarely ever will. Just kidding. No, it's from Collision. This last weekend. So Shane Taylor versus Will Ospreay to open the show. Normally I would pick a Danielson match, Edge match, Adam Copeland match, but let's show some love to Shane Taylor. He's really, really good. If you don't, if you kind of sleep on him because he doesn't look like your typical mainstream star wrestler right now, you're missing out on so much because he is so good. This one, syempre, you match up against the best, one of the best wrestlers, a top ranked wrestler in the world by PWI, diba? And you don't get this match if you're not good. Diba? You don't get Will Ospreay as an opponent, as a coworker, if you're not good. So yun pa lang. If you don't think about these things, yun pa lang. It's a mark of acceptance. It's a mark of recognition. Okay, Shane Taylor as a wrestler, and he's so good. If you're not familiar with his work, he wrestles a striking style, more striking than brawling. He's a precision striker. He has a background in boxing and Muay Thai, so he uses a lot of strikes and then uses the occasional big man power game. So it was a really great contrast with Will's acrobatic high flying style, his intense fast paced style. So it's a lot of things that if you're looking for your wrestling to look painful and legit, this Shane Taylor especially is the kind of guy to watch. So I just wanted to give him flowers because I know a lot of people overlook him, and with Will Ospreay as a partner in the ring, I think this should draw a lot more eyes to his work. So please go watch this. Check this out.
I will say about the finish of this match. Holy shit, man.
Ayun pa. So Emil is talking about the finish. Will Ospreay was able to lift Shane Taylor on his shoulders. Shane is like 300 something pounds, and he lifted him up on his shoulders and nailed a perfect Stormbreaker. As in walang palya. It didn't look weird because he was heavy. It was pure. It was smooth and seamless.
Yeah, like I couldn't believe because I don't think I haven't seen Ospreay pull off a Stormbreaker against someone who's that big.
Yeah, it's usually smaller guys. Like, they can spin around properly.
Diba? God damn, holy shit. What a finish of that sa match na yun. And I'm now getting used to Ospreay and him in TV matches. Kasi dati nakikita ko lang siya is going through a 20-minute, 30-minute classic. Pero ngayon, I think, he's getting used to being on TV schedule where you couldn't really go 20 minutes, but you can still do everything in a limited amount of time on TV. So it was a great match, great opening to Collision. And again, I'm gonna give flowers as well to Shane Taylor. Say they've been consistent on TV now. Ever since the start of the year, they had matches against Moxley, Danielson, and I think because of their great performances over the last few months, mas nare-rewardan sila with more appearances on TV. But right now kasi mas prominently sila sa Rampage or Collision. So I wish soon they could get a title shot here and there because both Shane and his protege, si Lee Moriarty, both of them are really good. And again, that was if you haven't seen Shane Taylor before, I'd recommend for you to watch this match because it's not hindi siya squash, but it was a very competitive match between these two.
I think what I like about
real quick. Shane Taylor and both guys in STP actually they're getting the Daniel Garcia push because once you show TK a really really good performance that tickles his brain, he's gonna keep using you. That's what happened to Daniel Garcia. That's what happened to Sky Blue and a whole bunch of other people.
What I appreciate about Shane Taylor is yung pagka-complete niya as a wrestler. Like, he can talk and he can ball. Diba? Yeah. Sure, yung look niya isn't the typical giant or titan that you expect in professional wrestling, but he's basically like Kevin Owens or Eddie Kingston.
Oh, yeah.
Diba? They're all cut from the same cloth, and I kind of like it. I like seeing guys like Kingston and KO and now Shane Taylor there, especially in a landscape like AEW where a lot of guys and girls are really good in the ring pero hindi sila as fleshed out as characters or on the mic. Granted, the Shane Taylor character on AEW isn't very fleshed out either, pero at least mas confident ako sa ability niya to tell a story verbally than a lot of other wrestlers on that roster. So, it goes without saying that it's to be expected kasi vet na rin naman si Shane Taylor, but seeing a guy like this get rewarded with TV time, with a match against someone like Will Ospreay is a good sign because it means at least may nakakapansin sa efforts niya and what he can bring to the table. Which, I guess is medyo sore spot lang for me when I see wrestlers who can't really talk on the mic get that big of a push. Kasi parang it has to be a well-rounded game, diba? Like, you have to know how to advance your character and advance the story on the mic. It can't just always be the in-ring work. So, yeah. Those are my thoughts on Shane Taylor. So there. Those are our picks for this week. As always, if you want to get yours in and if you want to chime in on the conversation, you know where to find us. It is at Wrestling2XPod on Twitter and on TikTok. Individually, it is at EML_Meister, at RoisWar, at Chino Supersized, and at Monday Night Rowan. And for me, it is at _Stan C. We will catch you on Thursday for our weekly live stream where we're going to be doing double the predictions because it's double or nothing and King and Queen of the Ring.
God.
That's gonna be a long episode.
Oh my God.
Happy na birthday pa.
Predict na rin natin yung dekada. Tuloy na natin.
Kala ko, predict natin kung sino magiging Senate President pero But yeah, it's going to be a double predictions episode this week on the live stream. We're going to have a lot of fun. Do join us Thursday, 7 p.m. on the Facebook page or on the YouTube channel. Just search for the Wrestling Podcast. Thank you very much to Babyface producer Jasper and everyone over at the Pod Network for all of the work that they do behind the scenes. And thank you for continuing to make us a part of your weekly wrestling diet. On behalf of our co-hosts who can't be here, Chino Liao and Rowan ASH, as well as Romoran and Emil Nate, my name is Stan C, reminding everybody to stay safe, stay healthy and hydrated, and don't be a dick. Wrestling Podcast. Out. Later, Outcasts.
Peace.
The opinions of podcast creators, hosts, and guests are not necessarily reflective of the official stance of the Pod Network Entertainment, its hosts, or other network programs. The content created by the people behind the podcast is personal and not meant to harm any religion, ethnicity, group, organization, company, or individual.